Halftime here from Pinedale High School, where the visiting Kemmer Rangers are up 41-25 over the home Pinedale Wranglers. My name is Robinson Miles, your voice of the Rangers. Tell you, this game has been an absolute ball so far. The Kemmer Rangers playing with so much confidence. It's one of those where they're playing so well, it's almost bittersweet, where you're excited to see how well they're succeeding, but you kind of wonder, where's this been all year? Because they look so much better out there. It's not just a matter of the shots are falling or maybe the other team or whatever. They look so confident. They look so good out there. They look really tough, and they look really self-assured. Each of their movements, each of their actions looks very deliberate, looks very, very strong. Again, our halftime score, 41-25. Kemmer up over the Pinedale Wranglers. And this is one in which they've been consistent so far throughout the game. They outscored the Wranglers 19-10 in the first quarter and then 22-15 in the second. So outscoring by 9 and then by 7, leading to their 16-point lead at the half. Now, I do want to praise that, and I will, my goodness, but one thing I have to point out is that halftime of the last time these teams played, the Rangers were down by 8, and then they ended up winning by double digits. And so one thing that I want to preface before I go through any of the successes that we've seen so far today is that this game is far from over. And this is a very, very important game. Currently, the Kemmer Rangers are third in the 3A Southwest, and the Pinedale Wranglers are fourth. And so this is a really important game because if the Rangers can pull this one out, they secure their position as third, looking at regionals. But if not, that puts things a little bit more up in the air in that they could change before we have regionals here in 2 weeks. These are just the final few games of the year. The last regular season game coming next week. So this is the time not only to get your wins, get your successes, but you need to be figuring out who you are and need to be playing your best basketball. And this is something that we're seeing here tonight from this Kemmer Ranger team. They've been doing something today that you can tell they've wanted to do throughout the season, but it hasn't totally worked out. They have been feeding the ball to the inside to Jake Campman and Colby Bowen, who are just going to work on the inside. And one thing I have to admit, their positioning has been good. Primarily, Pinedale's been running a 2-3 zone, and so they haven't been able to seal off all the defense the way that you might want to with a dominant post player because, you know, help's going to come, help's going to cycle. But they've been doing it a lot with their height, and they have been doing a lot of strength. Jake Campman has been doing a really good job putting the defense on his back, on the backside of his hip. And Colby Bowen, he just has to stand up straight, hold his hands over his head. They can lob it into him, and they've been doing that, and it has been really successful. That's one thing that Pinedale hasn't done a great job at is help side defense when one of those big men gets fed on the inside. And generally, they will take a second or two to pivot around, create a clean shot. And those are your moments to jump in and help your guy who just got burned. But they haven't been able to do that so far. They've kind of been in a weird position in which they have struggled to help on the opposite side. And as the Rangers have taken advantage of that, they have found a lot of success. That's going to stretch us out to a 9-point game, 63-54, 3 minutes, 36 seconds left to play. Feed to the inside, number 32, Jace Ramage. He's going to try and shoot over the top of Colby Bowen. That's hard to do. Couldn't make it happen. Chase gets it, passes it way forward to Jake Campman. Only has one man in front of him. He's going to go for the layup. That's up and in, and he gets the foul. Jake Campman making it happen, Cap'n. He's going to get the extra foul shot as well. Man, that was tough. He had a man just right on top of him, 40. There, that is actually his 4th foul committed. You know, I imagine that's one of their starters just using a different jersey, and sometimes that'll happen. Oh, they didn't know what was happening. Jake missed it, but no one realized that was a live ball, so Colby just stepped in lazily, got the putback for 2. Now 13-point ball game. Gage Zook on the far side. He's going to dribble it up to the top of the key. Jace Ramage swings over to number 40 for 3, no good. Chase Bowen comes up with the ball. Finally, Elliott's to Jake Campman, pass back to Wyatt Peternall, and we're going the other way. Man, this is a physical game. You have to fight for every single pass, especially in transition. Tommy Skidmore up top, gives it over to Chase Bowen on the near wing. They're starting to rotate on the inside. You know, they're trying to get an open shot. Chase Bowen fights his way all the way down to the block. Tommy with the putback, and he gets fouled, and that one's up and in. Wow. The Rangers just have the wins at their back right now. That one's going to go against number 22, Owen McMillan. So that is going to put Tommy on the line, shooting the extra one. He's been so active this game. He makes so much happen. He's only scored 5 points now. His first 3 were in the first quarter. Shot is up. And this one's off. And it is rebounded by number 32, Jace Ramage. Number 40 is going to be the one to bring this one down. Pass over to number 22, Owen McMillan. He wants the shot. He's going to take the 3. That one's up and in. Owen McMillan keeping things interesting. Wyatt Peter now, he's got 2 defenders on him. He needs a pass. He picked up his dribble. And Kemmer's going to call a timeout, bail him out. So we're going to take a break along with him here at 105.3 940 The Spur, SVI Sports Network. This past Friday from Ranger Field, it was the Kemmer Rangers taking on the Pinedale Wranglers. Both of these teams came in looking for their first win of the season. The Rangers were led by junior Tommy Skidmore in his first season at quarterback. He led the team with 121 total rush yards on 12 carries. Behind him, it was A.Q. Peternell with 82 total rush yards on 19 carries. 3 of the Ranger touchdowns ended up coming from plays in which Skidmore dropped back to pass, and then when the pocket collapsed, was able to scramble his way into the end zone. On the other side of the ball, it was senior Colby White for Pinedale, who ended with 207 total rush yards off 30 carries. When it's all said and done, the Rangers couldn't quite come up with a way to stop the Pinedale rush offense, so Pinedale walked away with the victory 34-24. Join us this coming Friday from Ranger Field as the Rangers will be taking on Thermopolis. Robinson Miles, SVI Sports Network. One last thing. I think this might just be good, a good little advice for anyone who comes in to listen. How to tell the difference between Jim and Andy on the air.
Well, I'm better looking. No, wait a minute. Hold on now. My stick is I'm the better looking half of the full Nelson, so that's the only way you're going to tell. Well, and we both have faces for radio. There's no doubt about that.
Perfect. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to me today.
I got one more answer.
Please.
I got one more answer real quick.
Please.
If that person is using big words, it's Andy.
Oh.
Yeah. You betcha. I color with the whole box of crayons.
Are you guys going to try and split your personas as the fun one and the smart one? Is that where it comes down to?
Yeah. Oh, there's Laurel and Hardy, absolutely. There you go.
One thing that's happened with me, anytime I'm driving around, if I ever see an accident, I always get super paranoid and extra careful for a week after I see something like that. Do you find yourself just being paranoid all the time, getting all these emergency calls and all these worst-case scenarios coming at you all day?
You know, there is times when it's like I'm super vigilant in, like you were saying, the accidents or those type of things. My kids grew up with me dispatching, and they tell me all the time I'm the most paranoid mother they have, that they know of, for that reason. So yeah, it does. It makes you, for lack of a better word, more aware.
Oh, sure. And being on the side of getting those calls, again, of just kind of the worst case scenarios, worst things that can happen, do you feel like it gives you kind of a unique insight into the communities that you service?
Yeah, I do. And you know what? When we drive around, and I know I've talked with this about my dispatchers, we notice mile markers. We notice, what the house looks like. We notice some of those things because we're going to be asking those questions. Okay, what mile marker are you by? Those type of things. I can be in Arizona, and I'll know which highway I'm on and what mile marker I'm at.
Okay, so someone comes to the theater. For example, I've never brought my wife to the Skyview Cineplex. If we're going to go get a pizza, in your opinion, which is the one that we just can't miss?
Depends on what you like. Okay, if you want a specialty pizza, one like with our our most popular specialty pizza is called the Hungry Gecko. It's chicken, Alfredo sauce, mushrooms, olives, green peppers, onions. We have one with a barbecue sauce. If you're in for a really hot sauce, like a Frank's Red Hot, we have one that has that on it. We have calzones that you can do in all those different pizzas. Of course, then we just have the regular, red sauce, regular pizza. But I think the thing that makes us unique is we do our dough fresh every day, hand roll it. Our calzones we make fresh every day. Nothing, and sometimes that's unfortunate. People want to come in, pick it up, and away they go. We're not, we're not McDonald's. It takes a little bit of time, to get it done.
Sure. Well, Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Bring your wife and come see a movie and have pizza.
Absolutely. Just for you. Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for talking.
Hey, thank you.
And I'm Robinson Miles. A Nibley family is staying with relatives after their house caught fire. Sarah Murphy shows why they could be staying with family for months. The mother, father, and 2 daughters who were in the house were able to get out safely. And in the movie Babe, a pig herds sheep. Over the weekend, I caught a competition with cows instead of sheep. Instead of a pig, cow dogs. If you're interested in competing, there are divisions for beginner and junior handlers. So Sarah, do you think you've ever had a pet that could do any of that?
I've never had a pet, period. And after watching that, not sure if I want one.
So it's a little intimidating to see what they're able to do if you put enough work into it.
It's a lot of work. It seems like a lot of work for sure.
Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Robinson Miles. Gary Anderson is no longer the head football coach at Utah State, and he's had a coaching career full of ups and downs. Anderson first became the Aggies head coach leading up to the 2009 season. Overall, he went 26-24 in 4 seasons, including this overtime victory against Utah in 2012, his last season with Utah State, when the Aggies went 11-2. Before the 2013 season, he became the head coach at Wisconsin, where he coached for 2 seasons and went 19-7. The Badgers went into this 2014 Big Ten championship game against Ohio State, ranked number 11 in the country, but lost 59-0. 4 days later, and before Wisconsin's bowl game that season, Oregon State announced that Anderson would become their new head football coach. Later, Gary would say that the switch was because of Wisconsin's high standards for students that excluded athletes he wanted to recruit. Over 2 seasons, Anderson went 7-23 with the Beavers, including this 58-27 loss at Colorado State to start off the 2017 season. Halfway through that season, on October 9th, Gary announced that he was quitting the Oregon State job, leaving behind a $12 million contract. He later attributed the choice in part to conflicts with assistant coaches. Then, Utah State hired Anderson back as head coach after he spent 1 season as a defensive assistant coach at Utah. He went 7-6 with the Aggies in his first season last year, following an 11-2 Aggie team the year before. And after a 0-3 start this year, the administration wasn't impressed.
First 3 weeks, other than a snippet here or there, was not Aggie football as we have grown accustomed to.
The most recent loss was Thursday against the Nevada Wolfpack, a game that gave whiplash to the expectations of the Aggie fan base. This safety by sophomore A.J. Vompachon was the first score of the night, and the Aggies followed it with a touchdown pass to Justin McGriff that put them up 9-0. Then things took a turn. In total, the Aggies gave up 542 yards on defense and 34 unanswered points to the Wolfpack, leading to the end score of 34-9. The high school 4A football quarterfinals are this weekend, and the matchup between Skyview and Cedar sent me back to school. My first class was math. It was a windy night on Friday when Skyview taught me to multiply by 7 by finding the end zone 5 different times, including this 3-yard run by senior quarterback Kaysen Carlson. My next class, history. Cedar faked a field goal that turned into an interception by senior Isaac Larson, which he ran back 99 yards for a touchdown. It made me think about the past, when I remember him wearing a different set of colors. Larson was a Logan Grizzly last season before switching sides to state champion Skyview. He has played both sides of the ball for both teams, but is committed to play cornerback for Utah State after graduating. My last class was science. This game was a lesson in survival of the fittest. Skyview came in undefeated, and that wouldn't change, with the number 1 seed coming away with a 35-7 victory. Also in a quarterfinal matchup, number 4 Ridgeline took on number 5 Park City. This one went down to the wire, and to show just how intense it was, we're introducing the ATV Stressometer. Both teams' cheerleaders were there for a windy night at Ridgeline. The Riverhawks struck first with a 1-yard keeper by junior quarterback Caden Cox. Park City matched that score with a 9-yard scramble into the end zone by senior running back Seth Warner. In the second quarter, Ridgeline found the end zone first with a 21-yard pass to senior Evan Webb. Then, when Park City was trying to punt it away, sophomore punter Matthew DeMarco couldn't keep his hands on the ball, and it turned into a scoop and score for senior Miles Eck. This made it 21-7 going into the half. Park City came back with a vengeance in the third quarter, starting with a 2-yard run by Miles Warner, his second touchdown of the night. The Miners evened the score with a deep pass to senior Trond Grizel, making it 21-21 to start the fourth. Only 8 seconds into the quarter, a double pass by Ridgeline to senior Jovesa Demuni gave them their first score of the second half. The Miners answered with their own touchdown on a 26-yard pass to senior Troy de la Vega with 9 minutes, 1 second on the clock. Tied up once again, junior running back Noah White muscled his way 4 yards to another 7 points for Ridgeline. Less than 1 minute on the clock later, senior Park City running back Kirby Baines juked and jived his way over 70 yards to tie it up 35-35. Then, with only 7 seconds left on the clock, it was the Riverhawks who made the game-winning score on a pass to Jovesa Demuni, who made the catch and sealed the win for Ridgeline. And he left us with one single word of wisdom after sealing the game for his team.
Peace! Let's go, baby, let's go!
This is the furthest that the Riverhawks have gone in the playoffs, and sets up a semifinal matchup between Ridgeline and Skyview. The Riverhawks could also be undefeated if not for their 17-14 loss to the Bobcats on September 17th. The rematch will happen this Friday at 3 at Skyview High School. That's all the local football news for this week. Back to you, Sarah.